Screen Rant never bothered me anyway. Yeah, Frozen reference. Howdy, Screen Ranters. Welcome back into our warm, loving digital arms. With the second Frozen film's release just around the corner, we thought we'd put a load of fun fan theories together for you, all in one space. We aim to please. Such theories as Frozen being in the same world as other Disney films, as well as who else could have powers in the franchise. How about who the real villain is? Hint, it's not Hans. So be prepared to have Let It Go stuck in your head again, and let's get started with the show.
We don't have time to reschedule. I want to hear the damn thing now.
We're going to start off with one of the most famous theories to be birthed by the fans. The hunky jungle boy, Tarzan, may actually be the long-lost brother to Anna and Elsa. As their parents were off on a voyage, the ship sank, and the two girls never saw their parents again. The theory goes that the royals ended up on an island. Shortly after Tarzan was born, the king and queen were slayed by a leopard, leaving Baba Tarzan to be raised by gorillas. Even the director of Frozen and Tarzan, Chris Buck, confirmed this theory in an interview, sort of. He later went into more detail that the theory exists in his own little head, which means it's probably not going to be canon anytime soon. Still, a Frozen film where Tarzan challenges his sisters for the throne, drama. Disney's history has shown that they don't like magic. At least they're a tad weary of it. In their library of animated films, evil and magic often go hand in hand, which may explain the reaction of Elsa's parents when her powers kicked in. Immediately, they hid her away from the world, in case the citizens see yet another ruler wielding the dark arts. There's definitely form for it to happen again. This is confirmed by the actions of the people at the ball when Elsa's powers did spring to life in front of them.
Sorcery.
Once the citizens, see her powers, it wasn't much better. They too responded with fear and backed away from their queen. If that world has often seen tyrants rise to power on the back of sorcery, it's an understandable response. If you want to become besties with a reindeer, all you have to do is wear the pelt of their mother, apparently.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a tad psychotic. The same trick doesn't work on humans.
You understand what I'm saying? Fine.
This fan theory explores this possibility when it comes to Kristoff and his BFS Sven. As we see the outfit of Kristoff, the jacket is made from reindeer. As Kristoff hung out with the ice harvesters, they may have hunted Sven's mom and made the jacket for the young Kristoff. They then leave Sven to be Kristoff's pet/conscience. It does explain why Sven favors the strapping blonde to an unnatural level. As Kristoff is wearing his mum, Sven can probably smell her and remember all the memories that he had for her.
I did not need to know that.
Since Kristoff is dressed similarly to the Sami people, who traditionally made clothes from reindeer pieces, it makes sense. The royal family of Arendelle and the Hunchback of Notre Dame may in fact be related. While there are clear visuals to show otherwise, there is potential. For starters, Anna's red hair may come from Quasimodo. Need more proof? But that was such compelling evidence. Fine. Well, in this film, Quasi was able to give life to stone gargoyles, which shows his magical potential. At the end of the film, when he goes traveling, he may end up in Arendelle, where he gives life to a load of stones to create the trolls and getting them to sing life advice. The trolls even adopt orphans like Kristoff. It could also explain where Elsa's powers came from, even if they do have different powers. Maybe there needs to be a gene that activates powers, but beyond that, it's a lottery on what the power will be. Just like the XMen, red hair and powers. Yep, there's definitely a Quasimodo in Anna and Elsa's family tree. Puberty is a weird time. Body hair springing up all over, voice changes, uncontrollable urge to howl at the moon. That doesn't sound quite right. Anyway, one fan theory plays on the whole of Frozen being a metaphor. That metaphor being a girl going through puberty. Of course, Elsa's ice power representing that hormonal flux all teenagers have the horror of undergoing. Once her powers came in, she shuts herself away from the world. As her body changes, she believes no one else in the world understands what she's going through. Once her powers are shown to the world, she soon has men chasing her, which is meant to represent romantic suitors. Hopefully in reality, less swords and fear will be involved. Anna represents a girl that hasn't gone through this natural transition yet, but trying desperately to calm her sister and attempt to understand. Only until she experiences it herself, it may be difficult to relate. Beyond the basic theme, Frozen took very little material from its source, the Snow Queen. That story involves an enchanted, distorted mirror that's broken into pieces. the shards end up in different people, and it turns them evil, as they now see the world as ugly and cruel. The Queen does have a very similar power set to Elsa. This theory reckons the franchise will go back to basics in a way. We could see an actual Snow Queen pop up that is related to Elsa, which is how she got her cool powers. Yeah, fantastic. Elsa, who could have easily become like the Snow Queen, would battle against her ancestor with Anna. Or perhaps one of the shards could enter Anna and she is turned evil. She gets manipulated by the Snow Queen. It takes Elsa to remind her sister of their love to destroy the shard within Anna. Nah, it gives us a warm, fuzzy feeling inside. Olaf could become like Donkey from Shrek. No, we don't mean he'll grow into being annoying after a while. Olaf's already there. Kidding!
Really?
Really?
Not really.
Man, I like you.
What we actually mean is Olaf could have some romance in his chilly life, like Donkey had with the dragon. Perhaps Elsa could use her powers and create some sentient snow person. That life-creating power could probably be explained at some point. That and the dressmaking skill, they go well beyond the realms of her make things icy power. Anyway, maybe Olaf could partner with a troll instead. That'd be weird, not sure how that would work, really.
Does that sound good to you?
Either way, with the love in the air for Anna and Kristoff, perhaps our frosty friend will be inspired and seek his own Arctic affair. With Elsa being the ice master, what about Anna? She doesn't have any powers to scare the locals with, or does she? Well, it's a theory for the sequel to look at. The opposite of ice is? If you said not ice, then you're half right. Good for you. Keep up with science learning, please. Of course, we mean fire. Anna already has the hair color to match the flame-related power, just like Elsa's hair matches her power. Even Anna inhibits certain personality traits of Summer, such as her friendly, outgoing nature. While Elsa is introspective, it would make sense for Anna to also have some ability, each sister working in harmony on the opposite sides of the seasonal spectrum. Disney loves to sneakily add references to their intellectual property in their films. Frozen is no exception. As Elsa is being coronated, we see familiar faces, which are Rapunzel and Flynn. But beyond just throwing these two in, a theory has come to light as to why they're in attendance. That theory being that Anna and Elsa are cousins to Rapunzel. Bonkers, but it makes sense. Elsa's parents were on a ship that sank as they might have been off to a wedding, that being the one of Rapunzel and Flynn, as their voyage took place 3 years ago from the events of Frozen, when Rapunzel was released in 2010. On top of that, Rapunzel's mom and Elsa's dad look rather alike, hinting that they're possibly siblings. Add into that, Elsa and Rapunzel having powers, the odds of them being related is pretty high. Next up, another Tangled connection, this time involving Frozen's sneaky villain, Hans. We know that Hans has 12 older brothers, his poor mother. We don't know too much about them, but there are a lot of similarities to a certain sibling pair in Tangled, those being the Stabbington brothers. The two sets of people look rather alike. They all have red hair and have a similar head shape. They're all tall as well. While a fashion statement of some kind, it's peculiar that they all have mutton chops as well. Almost like the animators really wanted the similarities highlighted. Suspicious. Even the beginning of Tangled, the Stabbingtons are on a quest to steal a royal crown, while Hans attempts to steal a crown in the less literal sense, instead seeking to rule over a kingdom.
It's what brothers do.
With being the youngest of so many siblings and low down in the line of succession, Hans developed a superiority complex, bless his insecure ways. Do you want to build a snowman? Yeah, sorry if that song's gonna be stuck in your head now, but we're not quoting that to be cruel. It's relevant to this fan theory. During the song, as Anna is begging Elsa for some form of social interaction, Anna references Joan as she glances at a painting of a woman dressed as a knight. That painting being of the legendary Joan of Arc, who led France to victory over the English in the 1400s. The portraits in their castle are of ancestors to the royal family. Perhaps Joan had a sibling or even escaped before she was burned at the stake, then arrived in Arendelle. The fiery stake could even be reflected in Elsa's powers as well, as her ice abilities could stop the progression of flames, making her ice powers pretty hot. Yeah, that was bad. Sorry everyone. We'll move on quickly. Another Disney character could be tied to Frozen. This one is everyone's favorite red-headed mermaid, Ariel. The theory involves another theory we've already covered, that being that Elsa and Anna's parents were off to Rapunzel's wedding in Germany via their ship. The Little Mermaid is set off the coast of Denmark. Frozen is set in Norway. In between these two countries is a sea. Do you see where we're going with this? Anyway, during the events of The Little Mermaid, Ariel and Flounder check out a shipwreck, which seems to be the same ship the Arendelle royalty used. We even see some skeletons. Maybe they're of the king or queen? Ariel goes on to discover a fork,
Tingle.
and tries to start a new fashion statement by using it for her hair. Even though the film came out well before Frozen, it weirdly ties everything nicely together. A Disney package, if you like. Besides from his heel turn seemingly coming out of nowhere, Hans was a pretty swell guy beforehand. He helped give out blankets to citizens and saved Anna from falling into the fjords. Only he stepped into the dark side and explained that all those deeds were done for his grab for power. But what if that's not really the case?
It's not true. That's impossible.
When Kristoff showed Anna to his adoptive troll family, they sang a jaunty tune that was offensive for Kristoff. Once the trolls find out Anna's engaged, they call it a minor problem. Then they attempt to marry them anyway. Rude. With all their magical abilities, there's a theory that the trolls did something to Hans, turning him from a decent fellow to Hans Gruber and Die Hard.
Benefits of a classical education.
They did all this so their son could be another woman's problem.
What?
We mean so he can be in wedded bliss. It makes sense since after the song, Hans breaks bad. Oh, those sneaky trolls. To follow on, what if the trolls' questionable actions didn't stop there? What if they were the real baddies throughout the film?
Search your feelings, you know it to be true.
When Anna is being saved by the trolls at the beginning of the film, Kristoff and Sven watch on. At this time, they were living with the ice harvesters. As they continue to watch, they accidentally meet a troll. The troll immediately says,
"I'm gonna keep you."
Which is a little unsettling to say to a child that you've never even met before. The troll leader, Grandpappy, starts by changing Anna's memories with no ethical dilemma. Next, he goes on to scare Elsa and her parents about her abilities. He manipulates the king and queen to hide their daughter away from the world. Due to this, Elsa was taught to be ashamed of her powers, which installed insecurities and fear within Elsa that will haunt her for life. Wow, that got dark. Picture the scene. Your daughter just accidentally used her ice powers on your other daughter who's now out cold. Do you immediately know what to do or react in panic? We know which we would do. Instead, Elsa's paw knows exactly how to sort this mess out.
I know where we have to go.
Grabs the map to the trolls and goes straight there for help. Why does he even have a map to the trolls? It's all a little suspicious. It leads to an idea that this isn't the first time Agnar has come across someone with powers. This reaction gives even further merit to Rapunzel's mom and Agnar being siblings. If he knows about his niece's abilities, he'd know exactly what to do. He even goes straight to hiding Elsa, just like what happened to his potential niece. Hans is a peculiar chap. He wears gloves most of the time, like Elsa. Hans has powers. Elsa uses her gloves to stop her powers from going all wacky and freezing everyone in sight. Perhaps Hans needs to do the same. We see him briefly take the gloves off to put out a candle, and no one can do that without powers. Oh, whoops. Looks like people can do that without powers. Hans may have some ice powers just like Elsa, or it could be something else, maybe some form of matter manipulation. As later on, when he goes to end the frosty reign of Elsa, a sword suddenly manifests. At one moment, he has nothing in his hand, the next he has a pointy boy. That can be the only explanation. The next theory follows a similar topic involving the abracadabra sword. Only the source of it appearing out of the blue is not from Hans' hidden abilities. Instead, Elsa's. At this point of the film, Elsa thought that she had lost everything. She believes that Anna perished due to Elsa's immense ice ingenuity. Alliteration! With nothing left to live for, she may have wanted Hans to take her out. As Hans heavily guilt trips Elsa, she could have made the sword from frozen aqua, which may help explain why it breaks as the frozen Anna blocks a swing. Steel doesn't break like that, kids. It could be due to very cold temperatures, but then everyone there should be like Jack Nicholson in The Shining. A sword of ice would shatter like that, though. Santa Claus, Saint Nicholas, Father Christmas, or whatever you call him. He's a well-known figure. Apparently, though, once you become an adult, he ignores all of your many letters. If you're watching Santa, where's our Pokemon bicycle? We ask for it every single year. Anywho, there's a fan theory that Kristoff may actually be Santa. Whoa, get it? Because he's really gorge. Our feelings aside, there's some compelling similarities between the two. Firstly, Kristoff likes reindeer and Santa has loads of them. Secondly, he rides a sleigh. Thirdly, he loves snow and the cold. Fourthly, his name can be shortened to Chris, as in Kris Kringle, another name of Santa. Fifthly, he's experienced with small magical creatures. Santa has elves, Kristoff has trolls. Sixthly, they both know who's naughty and nice. This may mean that Anna is Mother Christmas or Mrs. Claus. Parents can be difficult, always telling you to clean your stuff up, wash your face, stay isolated in a locked up room hiding your emerging destructive powers. Wait, what? Well, that's exactly what the king and queen did. When Grandpappy gave some advice to Elsa, they went a little OTT. They separated their daughters, forced Elsa into isolation, encouraged her to be ashamed and fearful of herself. There's even a theory that it could go even deeper than that. The royals may have done all this just for the purpose of turning Elsa into a weapon to be used in battles. Another sign of their evilness comes when Elsa is locked up and contained with iron mittens. Only her parents knew that covering her hands could curb her power. Hans wouldn't have known that, let alone having the resources required to build that device so quickly. But that means that her parents created that cell specifically to hold their daughter. Jeez. Move over, Emma Frost. The X-Men have a new White Queen. With Disney getting the film rights to Marvel's mutants back, perhaps we could see a crossover of sorts. So far, the origins of Elsa's power haven't been explained fully. Maybe its source is down to the X gene. Oh, my stars and garters, as X-Men's Beast would say. Yeah, reference. We could then see many more powered-up Disney characters join the X-Men. Rapunzel, Peter Pan, Mary Poppins, or Moana could be next. Eventually, the Disney characters could take over the X-Men completely. Honestly, having Wolverine interact with all of them would just be great.
Go yourself.
The founder of the X-Men, Charles Xavier, is well educated in helping people control their powers. He's molding young minds since the 60s after all, so he'd be the best choice to help Elsa on her way to becoming a bona fide superhero. Although Iceman may feel a little left out in the cold, huh? Wow, all those Frozen theories give us brain freeze. Couldn't have been from the 7 slushies we drank as we made this video. Has to be the video's topic. It's the only reasonable assumption. Thank you for making it to the end of the video. Make a game of it and watch every second of all our videos. Which theory made your mind melt? Do you have another cool theory? Well, drop your thoughts below. If you haven't already, subscribe to us and click that tiny bell to stay up to date on everything we do. Then give us a like. We like it when you do that. Bye.